Philippines is a critically important country both in Asia and in the world, and we always feel that it's important to raise the profile of the Philippines. At the same time, Philippines has had a lot of problems, and President Aquino has done a great job in his first year in office of beginning to address them, and we would like to celebrate the Philippines, to celebrate the great start that President Aquino has made, and to foster a dialogue both among Filipinos here in the United States with the Philippine government and with President Aquino and his team and the American people about how our two countries can work together going forward. Well, as everybody knows, corruption is the scourge of the Philippines. The Philippines has the most talented population maybe in the world, but so many Filipinos are helping build other countries, and Philippines has become a country that exists largely on remittances. And so the first step that needs to be taken to address the problems in the Philippines is to address corruption. And President Aquino has raised these issues very forcefully, but the system has many elements of corruption, and so it's going to require sustained effort over time, and I believe that President Aquino has made a great start in that process, but it will need to be an ongoing process. Well, certainly President Aquino and the Philippine government need to continue to do more to protect the rights of Filipino workers, especially those working in the Middle East and elsewhere, and that's critically important. Secondly, the Philippines is finding itself in a very tense situation, particularly with regard to the South China Sea. And while the Philippines needs to engage with China, this is also a time when the Philippines and the United States need to come together as never before to strengthen our alliance as a partnership of equals. And we think that President Aquino's visit to the United States is an important step in that process. The Philippines has been a staunch ally of the United States in the past. We believe that the Philippines and the United States will remain allied to each other because we have so many cultural connections. We have such a strong people-to-people connection, and we have overlapping interests. Both the Philippines and the United States are deeply committed to the free navigation of the oceans and the seas according to the UN Convention of the Law of the Sea. And so certainly there are concerns in the Philippines, as there are in the United States, about China's claims on the South China Sea and its behavior in the South China Sea. Both the Philippines and the United States have a very strong interest in working together to ensure the free and open navigation of the oceans and seas, including those in the South China Sea. Well, Asia Society is an organization that is committed to strengthening the interconnectivity of the Asia-Pacific region. We certainly notice that as the world center of gravity shifts from being over the Atlantic to being over the Pacific, the level of connectivity between and among the countries of the Asia-Pacific region is not nearly as strong as that in the Atlantic community and in Europe. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done to bring us all together, to open our minds and our hearts to one another. And so we felt that that kind of change for us needs to begin at home. And so we have only had up to this point American chairs, and we felt it was time to have an American and an Asian chair to make a very strong statement about who we are as an organization. Well, they will be providing overall guidance and leadership to the organization. And obviously there are challenges because there is distance and sometimes there are differences of perspective. But what we believe as an organization is the way that we can overcome these differences is by bringing people together to share ideas, to have dialogue. And as we mentioned with the United States, Philippines, and China, sometimes this dialogue is contentious. But as long as we're having the dialogue, then we can overcome it.
Thank you very much.
It's my great pleasure.